Hey, what's up everyone? In today's video, we are going to be talking about this video monopod by Kingjoy. But before I get into that, if you don't know who I am, my name is Nigel Bajos and I make filmmaking reviews and tutorials here on YouTube, and I'm also a filmmaker here in Portland, Oregon. So if you're interested in the stuff that I do, you can subscribe to my channel. You can even hit that little notification bell if you want to know when I upload new videos. But yeah, let's just get into this little review. So the monopod that we're talking about is the Kingjoy monopod. This is the MP308F, which is kind of a weird name. Now this is definitely a budget monopod, and I will say that it does not come with a tripod head, but the tripod head that I'm using is actually one that I have many of. In fact, my camera is on one of these right now. This is the newer S2, as I like to call them. These are just basically knockoffs of the Benro S2. I don't think Newer makes them anymore. There are a couple other Chinese companies that produce video heads like this, so I'll leave the ones that I use in the description below. But yeah, these heads are pretty cheap. You can get them for around $30, I think. So these are really good, and they have, you know, pretty nice fluid panning and tilting. So just because it doesn't come with a tripod head, it's not the biggest letdown, because tripod heads these days, at least for halfway decent ones, are not super expensive. And another thing that this comes with is a little Allen key right here that helps you adjust all the little knobs here on the feet. If you've ever seen a video monopod before, that's one of the distinguishing features, is that it has these 3 feet that you can put down, and it really stabilizes your camera a lot. When I first was doing wedding films, I used to use a monopod that didn't have these feet, and switching from one of the traditional monopods without feet to one like this, it's a night and day difference. These are really helpful. Back in the day, the only company that really made a monopod like this was Manfrotto, and I think theirs was like almost $300 when it came out. And then Benro followed suit, and then a bunch of other Chinese companies started making their own inexpensive versions. So this is one of those. I will say that there is some features that are lacking with this monopod. It doesn't have that locking point in the joint on the bottom here. There'll be a certain point where it'll like pop into place and the monopod will just stay there and you can just like let go of it. This is definitely not one of the monopods that has that feature, but what it does have is you can find a spot that you like and then tighten it here, and then it becomes unable to move at all. So now I can just leave it up and it'll be a freestanding monopod. Or you could even use this as like something to hold a light maybe if you wanted to, or maybe even a mic. So that is one kind of cool thing. It doesn't have that locking point, but if you wanted something super stable, maybe you're doing an interview and you don't really need to move the monopod, but you like the mobility of a monopod, having that feature where you can just lock it down and have it be stationary is actually pretty nice. So yeah, this monopod does have the 3 feet and it has that joint, so you can move the monopod around and get some, dynamic push-in, pull-in shots if you need to. So that's pretty cool. Same kind of a thing with any of the other more expensive monopods. You have that ball joint at the bottom, so you can, have a little bit more range of motion. And one thing that I do like about this is that it's really easy to fold up the legs. You just press a button and the legs fold up like that. Another thing that I really like is actually that it has a flip lock system and not the twist lock. I'm definitely a big fan of the flip lock system because it's just so much easier to do as opposed to having to do the whole twist thing. Now, I have heard from some wedding videographers that they actually prefer the twist lock because when you're doing this, that actually can be a little bit annoying when you're trying to be quiet in like a wedding venue. So I can understand like wedding filmmakers who don't, prefer the flip lock system, but for me, I just feel like flip lock is way easier and it's a lot more convenient. So that's just a personal preference of mine. I prefer flip lock on not only my monopods, but my tripods as well. So that's one thing that I do like about it. So this monopod is around $70 depending on where you get it. On Amazon, it kind of fluctuates as well as on eBay, but I'll leave a link in the description to where you can find this. Kingjoy does sell a version of this with a fluid head, so you can either go the route of getting the one that's provided by Kingjoy, or you can just, if you have your own video head, you can just use one of your own, or just go buy a cheaper video head and, you know, save some money that way. So this is a pretty inexpensive monopod when, you know, you compare it to anything from Manfrotto or Benro. So 76 bucks for something like this is actually like, you know, back when I was shooting weddings, you couldn't get a video monopod that had these features for 76 bucks. It just didn't exist. So that's what's kind of cool about being a filmmaker now, is that like there's a lot more available to you, like as a filmmaker, like a lot more like inexpensive equipment available to you. So that's something that's actually pretty cool. And I would say that if you're a wedding filmmaker, or you just do a lot of run and gun stuff, having a monopod is actually really helpful for you. What a lot of people will, you know, kind of make the mistake in doing is, you know, they'll go buy like a whole big shoulder rig so that they can, you know, rig out their camera and keep it steady. But most of the time, unless you're moving a lot and you need like that shoulder rig kind of a setup, you can achieve much better stable shots with something like this than you could with a shoulder rig if you're just being like stationary. So I would definitely say having a video monopod is definitely a good investment. You can do a lot of stuff with this. I mean, I've known filmmakers who have shot like basically entire documentaries just using this as their support. And they're becoming cheaper and cheaper as time goes on. And this one from Kingjoy is actually pretty decent. I'm pretty rough with my tripods and monopods because I throw them in and out of my car and I drop them sometimes and stuff like that. And this one's actually held up pretty well. It is all aluminum. It's not like, you know, carbon fiber or anything like that, but it feels pretty sturdy. It does come with this little Allen wrench. If anything does get loose, you can tighten it up again, which is really nice. So yeah, that was my really quick review of this Kingjoy MP series monopod. If you want to check it out, again, there'll be links in the description for it, as well as a bunch of other links to gear that I use and recommend. It'd be really cool if you clicked over here and checked out some of my other videos, and be sure to subscribe if you want to see more content from me. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I'll see you all later. Bye.